Hey everyone, it's Tom Locke, aka Brandon Downs here, talking about Hearthstone esports in 2019 and what I think about it. I come from Magic the Gathering background, right? I played on the Pro Tour once and played on the Grand Prix circuit as well. Pretty excited to see the changes that Hearthstone is making, and that Blizzard really does care about improving their Hearthstone esports year over year. Even though their announcements tend to be extremely late and their communication lackluster in general, they are making changes that show that they do care to make improvements. So this is just from their website. This is the visual guide to the changes that they made. I'll go over it as in chronological order from the importance that Blizzard themselves put on the changes. So you've got qualifiers that feed into seasonal playoffs right now with the championship, right? This is the Hearthstone Masters. Okay, this is the old stuff. My apologies, you all. We will go to the actual article. And we gotta get to Hearthstone. Alright. Hearthstone Masters. Actual new changes. They've got these qualifiers and these Masters Tour events, and we don't know what the final tier is. That's right. All right. So this first change is there are only 3 Masters Tours. The fact that there are only 3 big events in the year is a big change, going from 4 events plus Worlds. So there were 5 big Hearthstone events before. This going down to 3 means that we're going to be looking for that Grandmasters tier to see if that's a big Hearthstone event worth paying attention to. I'm guessing it won't be. I'm guessing it'll be some sort of a league type thing. But if it is that big Masters type tournament where it is, just an invitational where it's only the best players, that does count as a big event and would be awesome to see added to the schedule. Now, I'll talk about the ways to qualify. Finishing out so this is basically 3-star Masters. There are not very many people that had 120 competitive points last year. Qualifying through China. I don't know anything about how China works. I'm not going to comment. Finishing as a top performer at a previous Masters Tour event. Obviously, you can't do that for the first one. And also, because these are all in 3 different locations, this qualification might not be used very often, right? Because the player that does well in the first one might just have been like, okay, well, I can fly to Vegas. It's $200, not a big deal. But flying to wherever the Asia Pacific tournament is might be 2,000, and that's just untenable for a lot of professional Hearthstone players. So this might be a useless way to qualify. Securing an invitation through licensed third-party tournaments. We have seen 0 of these and know nothing about them. I am extremely hopeful, yet I don't think I'm hopeful that DreamHack Dallas, one that Team Sequoia is attending, of course, say hi to us, will have that qualification, at least maybe to top 4, maybe top 16. That would be amazing. But I don't think that'll happen. So we know nothing about these. They don't matter. Placing in the top 4 of a ranked ladder qualifier. These are the 200-person tournaments. If you finish top 200 in the ladder, they're 400-person tournaments. Excuse me. If you finish top 200 in the ladder in either March or April, you play in the ranked ladder qualifier, and that will allow you. That will qualify the top 4 finishers of that. It's still pretty tough, but it's a good tournament to play in. and then winning the online Masters qualifiers. These are cups. They're open to 224 players. Anybody. There are 30 a week. They are 3 times a day. They're on each region. There are 10. So they all qualify for the same tournament that's in Las Vegas. And but if you have a collection on those servers, you can play on those servers. There is one going on right now as we speak. I'm very excited to see the lists from it. And maybe we'll take a look towards the end of this video. But these are going to be about 224 person tournaments. That means they'll take about 8 hours. Maybe because there's 6 rounds of Swiss plus top 8. So if you are playing, that's basically 9 rounds of Hearthstone. So 8 to 9 hours is about how much you can assume of a commitment you'll be making. It is best of 3 now, rather than best of 5. If that was a best of 5 tournament with 6 rounds plus top 8, that would have to be a 2-day event. You cannot have people playing Hearthstone for 24 hours. That would be insane. It might be more like 16. That would be more reasonable, but it could definitely be up to 24, especially if there are conflicts with the tournament or players aren't sure when they can proceed. Any sort of confusion really adds time to a tournament. Okay. Hearthstone Grandmasters. We don't have any information on that yet, but that's the tier that hopefully that you can reach for, because right now the Masters qualifiers and tour stops the Masters tour events, sorry, they're not called tour stops anymore. They do not pay enough to be a professional Hearthstone player, not even close. They only award prize money to the top 1/3, and you'd basically have to finish in the top 8 to get prize money to sustain yourself, and you'd have to finish in the top 8 at every tournament, and it's not feasible. Now we'll talk about the specialist format, because I've talked about the tournament scene, how it does need more, but they've said there is more. It does need more to be a complete tournament scene, and they've said that, so this is basically an announcement of an announcement, so we'll wait for the announcement. All right, specialist format. Done with Conquest, A+. Conquest was bad because it gave you the false sense of playing different kinds of matchups, but it actually led to decreased diversity because you had to avoid being targeted with your lineup, right? If you brought an all aggro lineup and your opponent brought 2 control decks that were extraordinary against aggro, you could never win. Same if you brought an all control lineup and your opponent brought 2 decks that were just incredible against control, you could never win, right? It's not exactly how it worked, but you had those bad matchups in Conquest. It just, because you had 4 different decks, you had the illusion that you had more control over a lineup. All right. This format is hopefully you've heard what it is already, but I'll just go over it again. It's in 3 decks from the same class with 5 cards different from the primary. The secondary and tertiary have up to 5 cards different from the primary each. They can be different 5 cards, that's fine, but they have to be only 5 cards different from the primary. Now, this is like sideboarding, but much, much less skill testing, much, much less flexible. The more flexibility you add, of course, the more skill testing something is, right? All of these tournaments are open deck lists, by the way, and you start with your primary deck. So your opponent knows what cards they're playing against for the first game every time now. They don't know what they're playing against in the second, or if there is necessary, a third game, because you are not telling your opponent which of the 3 decks you are playing. However, they can probably guess with experience. They'll guess like which cards are better against you, and they'll prepare their mulligans, etc., as if they're playing against that version, because if you play the version that's worse against them, they already have that advantage, blah, blah, blah. There will be exceptions to all of these generalizations that I'm making, but in their generalizations for a reason. That's what's typically going to be true. Okay. So, Masters Tour events, also best of 3. This is awesome. The qualifiers are the same as the tournaments. That's awesome. I like best of 5 finals as well, just to add a little bit extra to that finals match. That's all we've got. Got the specialist format, best of 3, and part of what esports is. We're still waiting for that pro scene. Those are my thoughts. Now, specialist format, it's a lot of people have asked, what's good in specialist? Well, right now, if you go out to, there's a pro league that's being run by Battle Riff, and the gentleman that heads up that project, Jaws, on Twitter, it's JAWZ on Twitter. He has been posting the top performing lists from that tournament, and they have been Priest and they have been Hunter. They've been Spell Hunter, they've been Master's Call Minion Hunter, they've been Wall Priest, they've been Control Priest. There's also been an Even Warlock configuration, which is kind of cool. Even Warlock to me definitely seems like a flexible class, a lot of different options that you can use for that specialist configuration. But you're going to want to think of your lineup in the same way that you typically think of a Conquest lineup. Because you only have 3 options, it's pretty easy to just have 3 different purposes, right? You have good against aggro, good against control, and just your good in general, like your base plan, right? Or maybe you need some help against combo if whatever your 2 weak matchups are, right? The things where you're more likely to lose game 1, that's what you are looking for your tertiary and your secondary deck to be good against. You need to make up for those bad game 1 options. Okay, so let's pull up some examples from this tournament that just started, right? We've got 224 players in this event, I'm guessing. Looks like there was already 1 disqualification, but let's see first name we recognize and what they are playing. All right, we've got Green Sheep over here. What is Green Sheep playing? Green Sheep is playing, unsurprisingly, a Master's Call Hunter list. He does have a Life Drinker in the main. That's a very interesting choice, but just allows you to get a little bit extra reach with that Master's Call, right? It gets, if you have Kill Command, Life Drinker, Hero Power, that is a lot of damage in 1 turn. It is, in fact, 10 damage. Great options. And I don't know if Battlefly is having an error or if Green Sheep didn't submit secondary and tertiary decks. It looks like Battlefly is not letting us see the secondary and tertiary decks. Battlefly actually invented so yes, Blizzard's tournaments are being run on a third party, but they are not the third party tournaments that they were talking about that had some qualifications. These are the actual tournaments, the actual tour stop qualifiers that they were talking about. The Masters Tour qualifiers that they were talking about. But unfortunately, Battlefly does not show us the secondary and tertiary, just the main decks. But we see both these gentlemen playing Master's Call. Or sorry, this gentleman and Subius playing a Master's Call Hunter. Try to find somebody else we know. All right, Gara. Gara hasn't been on an episode of Value Town in a while, but he is known as a big fan of Shaman and Warrior. So we see actually they have decided to bring a control odd Warrior. And his opponent playing Mojo Master Zihi, Nerubian Unraveler main, Skulking Geist is okay. I mean, it's good actually because of the shield slams. And we'll see if Gara makes it past this round. It is Swiss, which means that you're only really eliminated once you have 2 losses, because it's a Swiss cut to top 8. Once you have 2 losses, you should probably drop, unless your second loss comes in the 5th or 6th round. So you don't waste your time trying to get that. There are pack prizes for these events, but they are not super amazing. You win once or twice, you get a pack, top 60. Yeah, here's the prizes as they go down. So if you miss top 8 on breakers, you get 5 packs after 6 hours of Hearthstone. It's an okay consolation prize, but I would like to see 0 packs to first place and 40 packs to second place, but because the invite is really what people are playing for. However, I can see that just becoming the norm in the future as they get feedback. There is a Discord server that they have set up. It's listed on this contact page. You can find all of these tournaments just from this Hearthstone Masters page. It just has a sign up link, and then you can find all the tournaments to sign up for. They open 2 weeks before they start. They're 8 a.m., 11 a.m., and 2 p.m. Central Time in America on the NA server. The other ones have similar times. Really bad for working people, etc., etc. However, on this Discord, they're answering all sorts of questions about the tournament. So if you have any questions, or if you want to give any sort of feedback, there's Blizzard admins, people paid by Blizzard to be on that server that will answer your questions about these tournaments. And they'll also listen to your feedback as well and bring that up. A lot of these organizers of the tournaments are former high-level Magic the Gathering judges. The man that is currently organizing the tournament ongoing right now actually organized for the judging for a 4,500 person Magic the Gathering tournament in Las Vegas in I think it was 2015. So he has a lot of experience herding sheep, as they say, or herding cats, as they say. Excuse me. These events will start off rocky, but by the time that you're able to join in 2 weeks from now, they should definitely be leveled out. Players should know how they operate, and the Discord admins should have answered many, many questions over and over. I definitely recommend playing Tournament Hearthstone. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll definitely see a variety of decks, but we'll also see a lot of Hunter, a lot of Priest. And I'm very, very excited to see how this tournament works out. And when I get to lunch tomorrow, see the 3 tournaments that have happened already and see what won those 3 tournaments. Those are my feelings on the format. I think it'll shape up as people understand a little bit more ways to beat Hunter and ways to beat the decks that beat Hunter. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. So shout out to all the people that asked me to make this video. I will see you next time.